Alright guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now in this series we are building an IT bead fast road Vauxhall Nova C20XE, and in this episode I want to continue stripping this engine. I want to get it back to the bare block, get it cleaned up and painted, so the next episode we can start rebuilding. So first off, let's spin around and take the sump off. The sump's held on with a load of M6 bolts. Once they're all out, the sump just prizes off. I then remove the 3 M6 bolts holding on an oil pickup pipe and pull the sump gasket baffle plate off. This is the late style 8-valve gasket. I will be replacing it, but I will be replacing it with like for like. These are so much better than the original cork gaskets. They just hold the oil that much better. I then start removing the crank bearings. So we bought the engine with the promise that this is just being rebuilt. And there's a couple of things I'm not 100% happy with, but the guy was true to his word. They're brand new shells. There's clearly quite a lot of new seals, etc. in it. So I'm quite happy so far. But that was short-lived. So, massive problem. This engine wouldn't have lasted 10 minutes. It would have blown up straight away. So I'm so glad I've stripped it. And this is exactly why I did strip it in the first place, because I can never trust somebody else's work. So here's the issue. Can you spot the problem? So basically, the shells are being fitted in correctly. The bottom shell shouldn't have a hole in, like so, and the top shell should. And basically, they're being fitted. That's got double hold, and that's got no holes. So basically, there'll be no oil pressure getting to the top end of the piston. And yeah, would have had it knocking within no time. So yeah, I'm so glad I stripped that. Lesson learned, guys. Don't trust other people's work. And as you can see, exactly the same. That's got a hole in, that hasn't. Terrifying, really. That end hasn't got a hole in, that end does. So yeah, being put together wrong, we've just saved a lot of money. The piston rings do look very clean. I think they're new. And I think they're in correctly. But who knows? I take the rest of the main bearing bolts out and remove the caps one by one, making sure to note the order of them. I then remove the M6 bolts holding on the oil pump, and that just slides off the end of the crank. I will say though, the crank is an early lightweight one, and it does look in really good condition. So yeah, minor mishap with the bearings, which would have been costly for the engine builds, but we've caught it. We're going to stick another set of bearings in, clean everything up, and it should be good to go. All right, really good condition. Finally, I remove the 2 M8 bolts holding on the breather tube. So as you can see, this is now back to a bare block. So the next job is to clean it all up and make it look nice. So I use a selection of wire wheels on a drill and a grinder to remove a lot of the loose paint and corrosion. This method works really well. I'd recommend wearing the appropriate PPE though. A full visor is a must. You do not want a bit of wire going in your eye. I also use a bit of 240 grit sandpaper and plenty of degreaser on the way. While on the dirty stage, I hone out the cylinders. I covered this in detail in the previous Nova build, so if you're interested in that, give it a watch. Right, so we've honed all the bores and I'm really pleased with them. Next job is to paint this block. So I'm going to put some primer on first, followed by some gloss paint. Obviously I did degrease the lot first. I then gave it a couple of coats of Professional X primer. I heated up the block with a heat gun, left it to cure for about half an hour, then gave it a few coats of direct gloss. Right, it's been 24 hours, the paint's all cured, and next job's to use some fine sandpaper just to clean up the gasket faces. I use 240 grit Abernet cloth. I find this is really good and doesn't clog up like normal sandpaper. Plus it seems to last a lot longer. It's actually for bodywork, but I find it works really well on metal and wood. The gasket faces need to be spotless. Just a small bit of dirt or paint or corrosion could have a massive negative effect on the way the gasket seals, and we don't want any leaks, do we? So that's as much as we can do in this episode, guys. As you can see, it's all painted, owned, it's looking a lot better, ready for the rebuild. Unfortunately, I don't have the parts yet, so this is going to have to continue in another episode. But for now, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and stay tuned for more. Bye-bye.